how Bill Maher completely destroyed Kaitlan Collins on live television, but let's be honest, we only touched the surface. He looked straight down the lens.
Bill Maher just took Kaitlan Collins to task live on air, and it wasn't pretty. In a moment that stunned the audience and left CNN scrambling, Maher exposed what he calls blatant media bias, hypocrisy, and the selective truths CNN pushes every night. This wasn't just another interview. This was a takedown. And now clips from that encounter are going viral, with viewers asking one question. Did Bill Maher just say what everyone else has been thinking?
I'm a big rooter for CNN, but that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you were doing in that arena of like, this is a terribly...
At first, the conversation between Maher and Collins seemed relatively tame. She brought up her usual talking points about political accountability and the role of journalism.
I live in a state with 40 million people, and I get 2 senators, and the Dakota Territory gets 4.
There it is. Bill Maher delivers a scathing takedown of Kaitlan Collins' glaring double standards.
But it didn't take long for Maher to shift the energy in the room. He calmly but firmly questioned CNN's editorial integrity. In his words, it's not about news anymore. It's about the narrative, and you guys are great at writing it.
Some of it is ridiculous. I live in a state with 40 million people, and I get 2 senators, and the Dakota Territory gets 4.
And there it is. Bill Maher annihilates Kaitlan Collins for her blatant double standard.
That's when things started to escalate. Maher directly challenged Collins on specific CNN segments, claiming the network routinely spins stories to support progressive politics while demonizing conservatives.
He didn't call Kaitlan out by name. Let's not kid ourselves. He was looking straight through the camera and telling her off. He was challenging her and every journalist like her to grow a spine, to stop hiding behind party loyalty and call a spade, regardless of whether it's red or blue, because real journalism doesn't play favorites. But Kaitlan, she's practically the cheer captain of partisan spin. If you don't believe me, check this out.
This is a really important point, Kaitlan. Who is the number 3 person from the Biden Department of Justice who went to work for the New York prosecutor just months before he brought this case against Donald Trump? You can't have people moving from the Biden administration to prosecute Donald Trump in New York and say it has nothing to do with the Biden administration, especially when the judge is the Biden administration donor.
To local DA's offices all the time. That's not that unusual. I mean, you're an attorney, you know that.
It's pretty
you probably
unusual.
Have colleagues who went to Yale with you that did that.
It's pretty unusual for the number 3 person in the Department of Justice to then go to the New York prosecutor's office to bring a bogus case against Donald Trump, and then to have the judge presiding over that case to be a donor to Biden-Harris. I think that's pretty unusual, Kaitlan, and really is, aside from your views.
He pointed out how coverage of the same event can shift drastically, depending on who's involved. When Trump sneezes, it's chaos. When Biden stumbles, it's empathy. Come on, Kaitlan. You see it too.
You think Trump is going to pull out?
I think Trump is nervous about it. I think I talked to a lot of sources in his world. I think he has really struggled with it. It's not just a narrative or a talking point from Democrats. He really has struggled with how to combat her.
To her credit, Collins didn't back down. She defended CNN's journalistic standards, saying the network holds everyone accountable, regardless of political affiliation. She insisted they give airtime to multiple sides of the debate, highlighting interviews with Republicans and conservative voices.
How do you think you're doing with it?
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, my show is evidence of that. We have lawmakers on from both parties. We'll have Elizabeth Warren on one night. We'll have Ted Cruz on another night. I think lawmakers from both parties should take questions.
But Maher wasn't buying it, he fired back. Having one conservative on a panel of 6 liberals doesn't count as balance.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Levitt didn't just answer the questions. She exposed the game. Kaitlan wasn't after clarity. She was gunning for a soundbite.
You could feel the tension rise in the room. The audience, unsure whether to clap or cringe, sat in stunned silence at times, laughing nervously when Maher dropped sharp one-liners. Social media lit up within minutes of the segment airing. Some viewers praised Maher for exposing what they see as CNN's double standards, while others accused him of attacking journalism itself.
The most pressing question, Kaitlan, you would ask VP Harris if you had the chance.
I have a lot of questions for her, but I do think I would ask about, where she stood when she was running as a candidate and for the 2020 Democratic primary.
Maher didn't stop with just general criticism. He got specific. He brought up how CNN handled stories like the Hunter Biden laptop, COVID origins, and the Russia collusion narrative. You guys spent years pushing some of these things like they were gospel truth, and then when they unravel, it's just a shrug and move on. That's not journalism, Kaitlan. That's theater.
And I don't think that you can say that CNN is anything but fair. I mean, look at that. We covered President Biden's exit from the race very closely, the pressure on him to get out. And I feel like I can speak with authority on this. I'm from Alabama. I'm from a very red state. I have a very conservative family, a lot of them who are Trump voters. They watch my show every night. And I think they know that they can trust me.
Collins responded with visible frustration. She tried to pivot, emphasizing the importance of fact-checking and standing up to misinformation. But Maher interrupted, saying, "Misinformation? You're CNN. You were one of the biggest drivers of half the stuff now being walked back." People don't forget that. The comment drew gasps from the crowd.
Did you catch how CNN plays the misinformation game? First, they throw out a narrative, and then, like clockwork, they frame it as if it's coming directly from Trump's camp.
From there, the conversation expanded. Maher started talking about the current media climate, how trust in institutions has plummeted, and how networks like CNN are partly to blame. He said, "You want people to trust the news again?
Ask about policy failures, and they'll point fingers at the previous administration. It's a masterclass in misdirection, saying a lot without actually saying anything."
Then stop playing sides, call out the left when they screw up just as loud as you do the right. Collins remained quiet for a beat. That silence said more than any defense could.
Because if CNN really were neutral, she wouldn't need to name-drop those rare conservative guests like their collector's items. Kaitlan had just walked straight into Bill Maher's trap, and now, watch him obliterate her.
I'm a conservative in America, and I'm watching CNN, just for the straight middle of the road.
After the segment aired, reactions poured in. Clips of Maher's comments were shared across platforms, with hashtags like New York Maher vs CNN and Kaitlan Collins trending on X. Some viewers said Maher was finally voicing the frustrations of millions who feel gaslit by mainstream media.
And honestly, who could blame them? Just because they're rooting for family doesn't mean they're buying the network's spin. Maher drove the point home. Personal background doesn't erase bias. Integrity in journalism does. CNN's coverage speaks for itself.
Others accused him of playing to the right and undermining serious journalism. But one thing everyone agreed on: this wasn't just another late-night chat. This was a serious call-out, and Kaitlan Collins happened to be in the hot seat.
Before Bill Maher gets involved, I want you to focus on what Kaitlan Collins just did, because it's crucial to understanding why Republicans aren't just wrong, they're evil in human form and need to be dragged through the mud at every turn.
Interestingly, CNN has yet to make any formal statement about the interview. Collins hasn't commented either, despite the flood of headlines and online discussion. Insiders say CNN was not thrilled with how the segment unfolded. One unnamed source even hinted that future appearances with Maher might be reevaluated. Translation: he hit a nerve, and they know it.
If CNN keeps bleeding viewers, and they are, executives may start asking if Kaitlan's brand of journalism is worth the baggage. Maher's war on woke media isn't just about winning debates. It's about shifting the culture. People are fed up with being lectured by self-righteous anchors pushing narratives instead of facts.
So what happens now? Will CNN continue to ignore the criticism, or is this the wake-up call they've needed? One thing's for sure, Bill Maher isn't backing down. He's been critical of both sides for years, and this latest moment proves he's not afraid to challenge anyone, including the media giants. Whether you agree with him or not, last night's segment was a bold reminder that in today's world of curated narratives, honesty, brutal honesty, still hits hardest.